When I was younger and I identified as trans, my mother would tell me, "You're not trans, you're just weird." And, that's not the nicest thing to say to a kid who's already getting bullied super hard at school. But now that I'm older, I kind of understand what she meant by that.
What are you, retarded?
From
What
a
kind of
young
girl?
age, I understood that I was very different from the girls around me. So I thought, by extension, that means I must share something in common with men, right? But once I actually started to, immerse myself in the male world and try to assimilate into it, I realized that I really didn't share a lot in common with most men either. I didn't feel like a girl because I didn't feel human, period. I'm really tired of hearing the phrase "not like the other girls" syndrome get thrown around because it's so often misused. When I think of a girl with "not like the other girls" syndrome, I think of a girl who thinks that she's special and superior to the basic girls at her school because she listens to some pop punk band with 3 million monthly listeners. For a lot of autistic women, we really are not like the other girls, and it's not a source of pride for us. It's a source of shame. Women are not really taught to speak their mind the same way that men are, so to really understand them, you have to, pay attention to small nonverbal cues and their body language, which makes it very hard for autistic people to get into relationships, whether platonic or romantic, with a lot of women. Also, women tend to be more emotionally in tune with the people around them, which meant that, growing up, the other girls at my school, it's like they could smell the autism on me. They didn't know what to call it, but they knew that something was, off. And nowadays, people would call that, weird vibes or something, when in reality it's just autism. It's so funny how neurotypical people think that autistic people are just these robots with no empathy. Neurotypical people are some of the most deranged fucking psychopaths I've ever met. If you did not grow up poor, autistic, fat, or ugly, don't talk to me. I don't care what you have to say. Let me tell you a story. When I was in high school, I was in this program for, the fuck-up kids. Basically anyone who couldn't function within a normal school setting for whatever reason. And that included everyone from, kids who were in gangs, kids who were in prison, kids who were addicted to drugs, neurodivergent kids, just anyone you can think of. There was a huge variety of people. But they all had, real problems. Except for this one guy, Caden. Yeah, I'm gonna be dropping names. Caden, fuck you. If you're watching this, I know you are, Caden. Fuck you. Yes, I still hate you. Okay. And of course his name is Caden, So anyways, I met this guy and he seemed like a pretty cool guy. But I was like, what is this guy's deal? He was a rich kid, seemed perfectly well-adjusted and normal. He was a teacher's pet. He won an award at graduation. The only time he ever brought up having any issues was he said that he had a really bad panic attack once. And so me and this guy, we had similar interests. So we decided to start a band. It quickly became very clear that he didn't value my contributions to the band. He didn't like the band name that I came up with. He didn't like my lyrics. I suggested making a band logo for them. I mean, my dad is a graphic designer and a cartoonist, and I'm a good artist. But he didn't want me to. And I told them that I could sing. I mean, I was the only person in that band who had actually released a bunch of albums before, and yet they hired this singer without consulting me. And this new singer that they hired, she wasn't into the same kind of music that we were all into at all. I tried to tell him in the most respectful way possible, hey, I just don't feel like a member of the band. I feel like you guys do not value my contributions to this band. And he started blowing smoke up my ass, oh, we value you so much, blah, 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 blah. And then guess what? I missed one day of practice because I had a doctor's appointment. And then the next day, they go and perform live without me. And Caden tries to justify this to me by telling me, oh, because you missed one day of practice, we just didn't think you'd be able to play the songs. At one point, we all performed together as a band at one of the other band members' high school. And Caden said, yeah, I'll give you guys a ride home. And then, after we performed, he spontaneously decided to go get pizza with his other friends and left me and my friend out there alone in the cold night. I also noticed that somebody had started a new Instagram account for the band under the band name that Caden and the other band member had come up with, and the account did not follow me. So, yeah, that was the final straw. I said, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore, I'm quitting the band. Around this time, someone in my friend group started receiving these really cryptic, creepy text messages that sounded like they were coming from a stalker or something. They were, like, texting her pictures of areas near her house and stuff. This went on for a while, and then it just suddenly stopped. And then April rolled around, and Caden came out and said, "Hey guys, April Fools!" I mentioned this briefly in the other video. At this point in time, I was, like, really going through it. Like, I was on everything imaginable, and I remember he passed by me in the halls with, like, his friend, and I heard him say, "Someone smells like Percocet," to his friend, and I was, like, trying to gaslight myself into thinking I misheard it, but then, like, my other friend told me, yeah, he's, like, talking about, like, your issues and laughing about them behind your back. And that was when I really crashed out. Like, I had already crashed out, but I crashed out even harder. I confronted him in public and was like, "You're fake, you're a liar, you were never my friend, you never lied to me." And then I turned to the guy standing next to him. And this guy, it was someone he only kept around for, like, entertainment value, basically. Like, this guy was his own personal lolcow. He only kept this guy around so that he could talk shit about him. And I turned to him, and I said, "Dude, like, do you know what this guy says about you? If so, that's sad. Like, you need to get better friends. Like, you need to respect yourself." And he just kind of laughed it off and said, like, "It's high school, everyone talks shit about each other. Like, I was trying to help you, man." That's the scariest part about neurotypical people to me. They will befriend people that they hate, not in spite of their hatred towards them, but specifically because they hate them. Just because standing next to them makes them feel better about themselves. You know how, like, every female friend group of popular girls has the DUFF, and even in male friend groups, they all have that one fat friend that they like to rag on? Like, there are thousands upon thousands of neurotypical people egging on World of T-shirts an autistic man whose mother just died to keep on drinking. They made Christian into the monster that he is today, and I'm supposed to believe these people are the normal ones. I don't even know how much more I can say about them without being, like, banned from YouTube for hate speech. People have told me I'm too bitter, but if anything, I feel like I should be more wary of people, less trusting of people. My ability to see the good in people has led me places where I wouldn't even go with a gun. It's like I saw the red light and just kept on driving. One time I knew a guy, and every time I would hang out with him, I would feel literally sick to my stomach. And I told myself, like, I'm just overthinking, like, it doesn't mean anything. And he would always complain about how, like, everybody leaves me, nobody likes me. And I just told myself, like, oh, I shouldn't judge a book by its cover, maybe he's really nice. And then a couple months later, guess what? I found out why everyone leaves him. There have been multiple times in my life now where somebody who is pure evil looked me in the eye and said, "You and me, we're the same, man. God brought us together for a reason. You're my twin flame. You're my soulmate." And that petrifies me to my core. In the past, when I was friends with an evil person, it's like I could feel his evil rubbing off on me. Every time I hung out with him, I became a worse person. And that scared the shit out of me. Like, I didn't know if I was just, like, catching fleas from this guy, or he just brought out something inside me that was there all along. Do you guys remember that monologue from Pearl, where she's like, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and the fear washes over me, because what if this is it? What if this is right where I belong? Throughout my entire life, evil people have been drawn to me like moths to a flame. And when I say evil, I don't mean like Regina George Mean Girl types. I mean people who are genuinely unhinged. Like people who must have been serial killers in a past life or something. And I used to think that like maybe they were drawn to me because I was evil. But now I think it's like they could kind of smell the crazy on me and they wanted to take advantage of that. I remember reading a book by the mother of Dylan Klebold, and he was this kind of very depressed, like, self-absorbed, miserable, lonely guy who didn't really show that on the outside, but when he came home from school, he would cry and hold his stuffed animals in his room. And then he just happened to cross paths with Eric Harris, who was this violent sociopath, and it was like the perfect storm. And that book really tapped into like some of my deepest fears. Being contaminated by evil, losing yourself in evil. And of course, no one wants to think that they're that impressionable, that they could just be influenced into doing something that evil. But when I really think about it, like when I think about what would have happened in the alternate timeline where I continued staying friends with evil people, like, I don't even want to think about the kind of person I could have become. I've always considered myself a skeptical person, and I know that this sounds crazy, but I swear to God, I have met the same demon in different skin suits. It's like Satan sends me, like, the same ancient evil in a different costume to see if I'll fall for it this time. I've noticed that a lot of my ops actually hate each other. Like, even though they're really similar, they hate each other. Because here's the thing, hatred is not the opposite of love. Hatred is obsession. If you really want to figure out who a person is, don't look at the people that they love, look at the people that they hate. Because that's the truest reflection of who they are. The opposite of love is apathy. When people hate someone who has never actually done anything to them, it's usually because of one of three reasons. Number one, this person is their shadow self. They represent the parts of that person that they hate and fear. Number two, this person has something that they lack, and every time they see them, it reminds them of what they lack. Or number three, they're afraid that if they really listen to what this person is saying, they'll start to agree with them. I notice a pattern amongst the people who leave hate comments on my videos, and it's not their age or their religion or their political affiliation or anything like that. 9 times out of 10, when I click on their profile, either they follow me or they comment on every single one of my videos. They claim to hate people like me, but we are their only source of entertainment. If we disappeared tomorrow, they would be so bored, they would be killing themselves en masse. We are everything from the internet lolcows that they love to post about on anonymous internet forums every day, to the crazy, tormented, mentally ill characters they see on TV and think, that's literally me. They love us when we're two-dimensional characters on a screen they don't actually have to interact with. They hate us in real life. Think about all the guys who post shit like, I need, like, a crazy bitch who wears fishnets and eyeliner to ruin my life. And then the second they get one, they run crying to r/BPD loved ones. I saw a video of this guy talking about how he felt like he was meant to be an abstract concept rather than a human being. And I think that's why I've been using social media for so long. Because on social media, you can kind of control how people perceive you to a certain extent. But then again, there are also issues that come with that. Like, I feel like a lot of people think that I'm playing a character, like Nathan Fielder or something. And then if they met me in real life, and they realized I'm just as weird as I am on the internet, suddenly it wouldn't be funny anymore. This is not targeted at my beloved subscribers. I love you all, even the ones who say that I look 71 years old. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.